All right, Rishi, I have a question for you. So one thing I've been noticing is that, in the e-commerce industry, when you look at like seven or even eight figures, maybe nine-figure businesses is a little bit different, but in seven, eight-figure businesses, it's super, super, super rare to have an in-house copywriter that is being hired, right? He works full-time or she works full-time for the company. Usually, copywriters that work with the e-commerce that do seven or eight figures, they're external consultants or agencies and so on. So you're a copywriter. I'm wondering, like, first of all, have you come across businesses that e-commerce businesses that do have a in-house copywriter? And the second question is, why do you think e-commerce nowadays don't hire copywriters?
So, it's a very interesting question. So, I think there are actually a bunch of e-commerce brands. One of them that I know of is called Huckberry. There's other e-commerce brands as well, and that have copywriters in-house. And it's interesting when I read the founder story, you can clearly make out that the founders see a lot of value in copy. In fact, there's a knife brand called Myson. Uh, they also, when I was seeing their descriptions and all of that, I was like, this is incredible. And I found out it's written by the founder. Now, if the founder understands the power of words, maybe because in the previous job they had some kind of writing related job, or maybe because they were in liquid water, liquid death, I think, is actually by an ad copywriter. And if you look at their copy, it's crazy, crazy good. So I think in those companies, for sure, they've got tons of great copywriters because you understand the value of copywriting. The other point you brought up about copywriters as freelancers, think about this, right? When a e-commerce brand is hiring a freelancer, how do they hire a freelancer? Well, the way freelancers is hired is you have a very specific problem. My email flow sucks. Improve my email flow. That's very tactical, right? That copywriter is going to come in, do the job, and leave the building. But the intellectual property of what was gained does not infect the rest of your thing. So you still need a conductor within the business that says, hey, we learned this amazing insight about our email flow, but the contractor is not compensated for knowledge transfer. So the contractor does their job, the company bids on a low rate, they get the job done, they move on, they find another company. Whereas, if the company had said, we'll pay you another $5,000 for you to teach us how we can apply this, it would be very valuable. So I think that's one of the reasons why they never, even though they hire a bunch of freelance copywriters, the value of copywriting is always lost because that relationship is very transactional.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest point you brought up was that, there aren't copywriters in these things. And I think that's a lost opportunity. But I'd like to know from your perspective, strategically, what would the benefit be if they were to have copywriters?
Yeah, to me, hopefully the PPC people are not gonna hate me for this. But the way I think about this is like, if I were a CEO of an e-commerce, it's easier to hire a copywriter and teach the copywriter how to manage a Facebook ad campaign or a YouTube ad campaign than hire a Facebook ad specialist and teach them how to become a copywriter. Like, you've been a copywriter for 15 years, 15 plus years, right? Even like half of the time of your career would be like 7 years. Becoming a Facebook ads, campaign management person doesn't take 7 years, right? Like the product changes all the time. So to me, from like, if I were CEO of an e-commerce, I think it would be easier to hire a kick-ass copywriter and teach the person how to manage the Facebook ads and the YouTube ads, or even like the way MailChimp works, right? Because if I hire a copywriter, I want the copywriter to manage my email marketing campaigns as well. So in my eyes, Facebook and Google and Amazon and emails are all tools, right? The tools are super easy to teach.
Yeah.
Copywriting is not easy to teach.
No, I think you're right. And I think that I think that hopefully this is gonna change. But I just think that first of all, let's also understand copywriters aren't simply writing the words on your screen. Copywriters are also formulating your conversion strategy. I believe copywriting is all about strategy. They're also constructing video scripts for your video content. So copywriting, don't limit copywriting to think about like, oh, this person is just going to write words on my screen. They're doing a lot more.
I mean, you and I consulted with a business about what type of photo shoot should we do
Correct.
for our brand new product, right?
Exactly.
And to me, it's like, like at the end of the day, it's like understanding why people buy things and how can you use those insights into a lot of assets that you have across your business, that being website, that being emails, that being Facebook ads, that being YouTube ads. So I think, the value is like massive in terms of like, irradiate the value of a copywriter across other part of the business.
I absolutely agree. I hope that CEOs will watch this video, will hire their first, you can even hire a junior copywriter. You don't have to hire, I mean, I would certainly say hire someone who has been doing copywriting for a few years. And then kind of, you could even bring someone on board as a consultant and give them a few mini projects.
I have a question, Rishi. So I've seen a lot of people talking about a lot of different type of copywriters, right? I've seen like this, and I don't know too much about it, but I've seen this like concept of like UX copywriter. What do you like? How do you see like that type of job being different, like UX copywriter versus like the classic, direct response copywriter, like yourself, for example?
Yeah, I don't know the details of what a UX copywriter would do. I have a feeling it would not be conversion focused, but I could be wrong. But yeah, to me, raw muscle of direct response copywriting, and the good news is that there is so much material available on direct response. Like literally, like if someone wants to do it, they can read 5 books and they'll understand all of the techniques. So it's just, there's so much evidence around it. I mean, outside of e-commerce, the entire world is running based on direct response. And so, it's very interesting. I think it's the Guardian newspaper. Every time I click on an article that is somehow connects to a Guardian article, they have this wonderful direct response ad that shows up where they are trying to kind of get me to sign up. And dude, that is pure copywriting. Wirecutter does the same thing where, they are trying to spin the fact that they get affiliate fees for the products that they review, but they do it in such a clever way where it's not at all off-putting. And this is all direct response copywriting principles. And so I think you can learn from these guys. They're not in direct e-commerce technically, but those same principles apply. So I just think it's a great opportunity. I would say that to me, the direct response approach, I'm not educated enough on UI UX copywriting. And so someone can comment, by the way, and educate me and send me a link. But to me, the classic direct response copywriting is just it's just an art form.
Cool, man. I enjoyed this. When I'm gonna give another advice here. So actually, you don't even need to buy books, right? You don't even need to spend money. Here's an actionable advice: go on Pinterest, okay? Type in. Actually, I'll give you probably step by step. Step 1. Go on Google, type in 10 best copywriters in the world, right? Then see the list of the 10 one, and then go on Pinterest and type in name of the copywriter plus sales letters. And now you can see like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sales letters of the best copywriters in the world and start analyzing the hell out of them.
And the best part is you can even then go to YouTube, right? And I know Lorenzo has shared a few videos where there is a person who is deconstructing that sales letter and then explaining every word, why that choice was made. So you're like, oh. So it's really, really exciting. And I'll give you one final important tip. This is the most important tip. 90% of copywriters 95% of copywriters get into copywriting because they have a really good command over language. And I make more typos than anybody else in the world. I want to just make it clear, language is not necessarily the qualifying criteria for copywriting. I think copywriting is strategy. And I think having curiosity and understanding buyer psychology is so much more important than having a skill of writing beautifully. Absolutely, writing beautifully is something that does help and something you can learn. But if you are a developer, for example, or if you're a graphic designer and you're watching this video, I don't want you to feel like copywriting is outside of your reach. It is very much in your reach. If you read those sales letters and you think those sales letters are clever, that tells me that you have something inside you that has that ability and you can jump into it. You don't have to have an English degree. So just wanted to add that one last point. Also, please subscribe to our channel, like our channel. If you can think of just one person in your network who would see value in this video, if you just share it with them, it would really help us out. We will see you soon. Take care.